for a long time, but really thinking about differently this past year. My name is Courtney Geiger from WIOA 3 up in Rockford, Illinois, and I am the Director of Career Services with the Workforce Connection. Jess, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, good morning, everyone. My name is Jessica Story. I'm the operations manager for the Workforce Connection. Like Courtney said, we are in Rockford, but we serve Winnebago County, Stevenson County, and Boone County. It's great to be with you all today.
Great. And Molly, I see in the chat somebody said audio isn't working. Can you confirm if our audio is working?
Yes, and for anyone, I'm seeing that some are able to hear. If audio isn't working, I posted the call-in phone number, and you can call in with your phone to access audio as well. So I'll post that phone number again.
Awesome, thank you so much. We'll try and keep an eye on the chat, and Miley and Molly will do so as well. So we'll try and keep up to date on everything as we go along, because we do hope for your participation through this session. It's going to be a day of presentations, so we want to give you the opportunity to engage as much as possible as we talk about some of the things we've done, but also learn from you what you've done. So please feel free to engage through the chat throughout the session so we can all share with one another what we're doing that's working and what helps us to access our customers, participants, and employers alike. So the first thing we want to know is who's in the room. So Molly, could you pull up our first poll? Let us know a little bit about your area of responsibility, whether you're overseeing WIOA programming, are you business services, working with participants? If you want to just participate in this chat, and we're seeing it live here now, so we get kind of a good idea of who's all in the room. I'll give you just another minute to do that. All right, I'm seeing it kind of static right now, so we'll close that out. If you can see, are the results up on the screen, Molly?
Yes, they are. Yep.
Awesome. So we've got a number of administrative and leadership. We've also got a lot of career planners. Hey, career planners. Lots of partner agency staff. And we also have some employer partners. So happy to have you with us. Let's see who else we've got. Some business services, some partner agency staff, and then other. If you want to, feel free to type in what that other is in the chat. And again, we're so happy to have you all here as we talk about some creative ways to engage.
All right. So as we begin here, we all had the opportunity to embrace change this year. And as we think of the COVID-19 pandemic and the challenges that that caused, we're looking at a variety of different factors in that, and how we engage with our community, how do we engage with our customers, our employers, how we engage with each other. We had the opportunity to get creative and do all kinds of different things. So Courtney and I are going to focus on some things that we have done, but like she said, we would love to hear from you. Obviously, we all embrace change, and so we're wondering, what changes did you make as well? And we are all kind of in the same boat as far as some of the factors and things that we had to consider while making those changes. And some of them, they're up there on the screen. Obviously, a lot of us were closed. We were doing hybrid services, so we were working virtually with our customers, some in person. We're still struggling with some centers and some agencies still being closed. Some people are still meeting virtually. Where there's a lot of customers that are receiving unemployment benefits still, they're extended. And so does that impact their motivation to receive our services and programs? We're challenged with now, remote learning at home and do some of our customers need to focus on that life balance first before it becomes, taking advantage of career services and that type of thing. And then fear and uncertainty still remains as well. Courtney and I had this conversation yesterday. There's just where all of our customers are kind of at different ends of the spectrum. Some are ready to get in there and come into places in person and receive services. Some just aren't. And so we have to balance and find that balance, find those different programs and services that meet all of the needs of people and meeting them where they are at in their comfortability. And the big one that we've been challenged with as well is the digital divide. As we're providing these virtual services, we have to realize that a lot of our customers are not equipped at home with some of the technology that they need to engage with us. So these are all the things that we consider and factors that still remain and that will probably remain in our new norm as we find our new norm, whatever that is. And so how do we approach engagement differently? Next slide. And Courtney, I think yep, there you go.
Yeah. So as we looked at this, we looked at several key areas in terms of engagement and some of the things that we've learned over the past year. And the first one is really utilizing tech in a different way and utilizing it wisely. Like many people, right away, we went to Zoom and we said, we're gonna serve our customers and this is going to be great. We're gonna connect with everyone over Zoom. And pretty quickly, we learned that while Zoom is really easy for us in a professional setting, for many of our customers, Zoom was not the platform that was most accessible. So we had to do a pretty quick shift and say, hey, we've got to look at this in a customer-centered way, not a staff-centered way. So we quickly determined that while Zoom worked for some audiences, it was not the tool of choice for many of our customers. So we moved to doing a lot of our workshops and hiring events on Facebook Live and immediately increased engagement. We got so much more engagement, not only from our partners, but from the community. And it also allowed individuals as they were scrolling, maybe in the evening, to watch a session and to find the information they needed in a way that worked for them at a time that worked for them. We all know that you can sign up for, the Zoom recording, and we all have the best intentions. But after a long day, when you get that Zoom recording, we also all know that a lot of us probably don't sit down for an hour and watch the full thing. So it was really important to us to really think about what worked. For our employer discussions, which are key topics for employers, we recently did one about the new Background Check Fairness Act. We found Zoom is a great platform that works for that. So we still utilize it, but we now kind of know its place and what works best for what different populations and groups. We're also exploring how do we reach youth? We've started exploring TikTok. There's a lot of really interesting career tips and opportunities on TikTok. So I think not being afraid of technology and embracing it. So that's one thing we're looking at. Additionally, when we look at tools like DocuSign and how we can assist our customers, not making assumptions that it's easy to use. So not only do we use DocuSign, but we have to, on the front end, call our customer, let them know that the DocuSign is coming, perhaps even walk them through how to do the DocuSign. We made little videos where we could send them a short 2-minute video that shows us doing the DocuSign and gives them step-by-step tips. So thinking about what may be comfortable to us, but what our customers need to embrace this technology and make it work for them is a key component that we really had to look at.
Absolutely.
Jess, do you want to talk a little bit more about getting tech into customers' hands?
Yeah, absolutely. So how can we get technology and technology skills to our customers? So we have all these ideas. So now how do we make sure our customers have access to them? And so, and are they appropriate for what their needs are? So we really looked at our workshops. You know, we were always doing workshops, but now we had to put a little emphasis on it. So for example, for our workshops, you know, when we were all still or first utilizing Zoom, you know, one of the things that we embraced was doing interviews on Zoom. How does that work? And what does that look like? So we did a workshop on that, making sure our job seekers are comfortable when they do get that phone call to do an interview, that they know how to do it. And so we did that. We also are thinking of an idea of a technology type workshop now. We've done things around how to use a Chromebook and things like that. But, you know, everybody has different technology and they're at different ends of the spectrum. So why not do an open house and bring your whatever device you're currently using to search for a job in and ask your questions at that point. So we're looking at doing that. There's a lot of available grants right now around technology and making sure that we get technology into the community and to bridge that digital divide that we had talked about. We were fortunate enough to get a grant for Chromebooks recently. And so we were able to get some Chromebooks out to our customers who are frequently in our career center and some of our participants to be able to use those Chromebooks to do their training, to look for jobs and do all of those things that they need. Additionally, we're making sure that they have the technology at home, the internet. So we're providing them some options for affordable internet services and, you know, also making sure that they're able to use and know how to use those Chromebooks as well. Another idea that we had and have done is a flash drive project. And so these, we have flash drives that we identified resume templates, interview questions, maybe frequently asked questions that you often are asked at an interview. There's numerous things that we have on a flash drive that we've identified that job seekers need. And so we've worked to get those in the hands of agencies that we work with who have groups of people that are looking for a job. So that's another way that we are making sure that our community has the technology and the skills that they need to do that. So the next thing that we want to talk about is connecting with partners throughout this. As we think about creatively engaging with our communities, it was essential that we communicate and stay in connection with our partners. And so, especially during this time, we want to know, are our partners open? Are they helping their customers virtually or in person? How can we help support each other during this time? That was very important to us. And so one thing that we did is we have a partner connection hangout that we have coordinated. It's once a month and it's all of our core partners kind of get together on Zoom and talk about our new initiatives that are happening in our program, our changes, our referral system, and just kind of where we're at. It helps us stay connected, and it's really been very beneficial to us. It provides that atmosphere where it's not formal, it's just more of a, you know, very casual, just getting together, making sure everybody is, you know, aware of the different things that are happening. And then for those core partners that we often work with continuously, we are flexible. So we realize that some of our partners are just like our customers. Some are ready to meet in person and some aren't. And we have to be adaptable and flexible to that. And so depending on where they are at, sometimes we go and meet them in person, they come to us, or we meet them on Zoom. We also connect with our partners through IDES eBlasts. They've been very, very, very good about helping us get our information out to large groups of career seekers. And then for Community Spotlight, we have, just like Courtney had mentioned, the Facebook Lives. We also are able to help our core partners promote their services through what we call a community spotlight. So we'll do Facebook Lives with them, and then they'll promote their programs and really explain to the community how they can take advantage of those. So just supporting our partners in that way has been really helpful.
Thanks. I think one of the keys too is this has created much stronger bonds and partnerships with our partners. And I think that the individuals that come to these are also some of the frontline staff members, as opposed to, some of our meetings where we're meeting with the executive team, but that information doesn't always get down to our frontline staff. So everyone is invited to these. And it really does create some strong partnerships and a lot of collaboration. So we've been able to connect with customers who perhaps are connected with LIHEAP or Community Action or VR or any of the other programs. So.
Hey, Courtney, before you
Yeah.
go on to the next slide, we had a question in the chat asking, if we could give them a idea of the size audience that the Facebook Lives provide.
Yeah.
And I would say, and please chime in, Courtney, because I know you've done a number of these too, but when you're doing it and watching live, you typically get 5 to 10 people kind of watching live. And then after that, though, the video that you're doing of that Facebook Live is recorded, and then people can watch then after that. So we often get about 200 to 300 views depending on the topic. And sometimes it's a hiring event, sometimes it's a community spotlight. So not too many live, but after that, watching the videos, I think has been a little bit more beneficial. Yeah. Would you agree?
Absolutely. I would say we also measure the action that comes from it. When we do an orientation session, we're going to see, do we get people that connect afterwards or not, and then adjust accordingly. So it's also important to us to see if we're doing these events and they have an impact, and what is working and what has an impact, that's what we continue.
Absolutely.
Great. So another thing we've really thought about is leveraging community space. I think initially we all thought about, going virtual and remaining online, but there are still people out in the community, doing different things, going to different places. And how do we leverage those spaces to reach people? So, you can see there's a billboard here. We were able to actually leverage a community partner to provide this free to us. So this is one of our billboards that we were able to get from an advertising group, so that they did the billboard on an electronic billboard for us and let it go. They also did an employer one geared toward our employers at a different area of town, so that we could utilize this and get the word out in a very large way. We also have been able to, we connected with our community college, and they have an electronic, scrolling message board, and they were able to put some messaging for us on that board. And a lot of people were seeing that board. So thinking about what those spaces are there bus banners at the back of the bus that we could put our advertising on, or in the bus shelters? We looked at putting signage in laundromats. We're trying to get into the vaccine clinics because we think that would be a good spot. We've had a little resistance, but we're still trying on that one. The DMVs, once they reopened, getting our information there because they're always packed. So thinking about where our information needs to be. I think additionally, our United Way has neighborhood houses. So we are a consistent present at their neighborhood house, and they've let us put a sign in the yard with Workforce Connection logo on it and information. So thinking about what are those areas really that we can leverage. And in most cases, it doesn't cost a thing. It's just a little bit of our time and effort. to get out there and connect with individuals. We've also really been able to utilize the high schools because they have been, we all know that teachers have a really, really difficult job right now. So when we contacted our high schools and said, you know, can we take a day and do some information about our youth program, and then we'll do a hiring event for your students, they were thrilled with the opportunity that we would take a whole day and provide some content for them that was associated with careers and work readiness. So, you know, thinking about where are the people going to and how can you get into those sites, and moving forward with some of those initiatives. I will say we also did a couple drive-through resource events where we got our community partners together in the fall and had all the resources lined up and allowed people to do a drive-through, similar to a drive-through hiring event, but a drive-through resource event for people who needed different resources, whether it be, you know, community action there, Doors VR, gosh, who else was there? The Workforce Connection, of course, our Literacy Council. So a one-stop shop, if you will, that people could drive through and with their comfort level. And of course, to make it accessible, just want to throw out there, we did have a walk-through lane as well for people who didn't have their own vehicle. So we made sure that we offered both. So, and then I would just also say for those who are doing service integration, our service integration has been critical. We have an individual that connects individuals from all of our partner agencies and from our WIOA programs and really helps them connect to the different resources and partners they need. And especially during this time, that has been just a critical key component of our strategy. You know, for example, if someone needs to connect to the housing authority and they're working with us, you know, she will call the housing authority with them, make sure she walks them through that process. If they need a driver's license or a document, she's going to actually walk them through the process of how to get it and help them every step of the way until they get enrolled in that programming. So that has really, really been helpful to help deal with the numerous challenges that the people we serve are facing right now. Yes, I'll move to the next slide for you here.
Thank you. So yeah, as we look at utilizing our assets, so some of the things that we already have, how can we leverage those to be a little bit more impactful and use those to our advantage? So one of the things that our business team is trying out is utilizing our email signatures. Putting a little tagline on our email signatures that is kind of speaking to our employer partners that says, hey, you want to post a job? Here's how to do it. And it's just this little snippet underneath the email signature, but everybody that receives an email will get that. That has worked out really well. Our career centers, we always think of those, okay, this is for customers, you know, to come in and utilize, but how do we help our partners utilize those so that they can meet with participants, they can meet with customers that come in that often need the same services. So we've been making our career centers available for employers to have hiring events and for our core partners to come in and promote their services and meet with their clients as well. And then workshops, like I said earlier, we're already doing them. So how do we make them more impactful to speak to the different trends that are going on, the different frequently asked questions that we're getting from job seekers right now, which have been so different than in prior years. And so we're putting more of an emphasis on the things that are happening in the workforce world, so that we make them more meaningful and specific to what people are needing. And then again, Facebook and using those for hiring events and promoting programs and services. And I'm loving the comments that I'm seeing in the chat right now. It looks like a lot of people are using Facebook, which is great. I've heard a lot of people using Messenger as well. So thank you for sharing that. It's a great idea. And then Courtney, I think you were going to cover their best.
Yeah, we have always done weekly email blasts to communicate with our customers. So on the weekly email blast, we're making sure we're really intentional about what's going in there, whether it's news about our sites reopening in person, or, when we moved away from appointment only to, allowing walk-ins again. So really being thoughtful about what we put in those, and making sure that for each of our locations, they also get a different customized email blast that's very specific to their community and what's happening in that community right now. Utilizing that to share partner information and to make sure that there are several different links and ways for them to engage. So it's not just information that we're sending out, but we're also embedding ways for them to really engage through those emails and connect with us really, really simply. Our customer service survey, we do that every year, but this year we wanted to make sure we were really responding to the circumstances at hand and not just sending out the cookie cutter customer service survey that we've always done. So making sure that it was adjusted, and we're asking customers, what do you want to see differently based on our current circumstances? What's working for you and what's not? And how can we help? Again, we talked about connecting with our partners. That has been very, very beneficial. And I would say also expanding that group of partners. We have our core and our required partners that we work with, but through this, we have had so many different needs come up for our customers that we've really had to think outside of who else can serve our customers in this way right now for this need that we have. And how do we connect with them and make it easy for individuals to get the services they need? So really, thinking outside, and I think it's just benefited all of us because we have a stronger group of partners and we are meeting the needs of the people that we serve this way. We also created an easy resume submission link. So created that right on our website so that individuals can submit it very easily and get feedback and assistance very easily as well. I will also say there's a note about how we handle the in-person sessions. We are very careful. All of our career centers have an initial screening that is done. Everyone has to wear a mask and we provide them. We have a very robust cleaning schedule to make sure everything is sanitized after every use. And then we moved our space so that we had a larger space where we could spread out and keep computer stations farther away so that we would keep people distanced and allow us to do things safely. And of course, plexiglass shields. We had to get creative and build some of those right away early on, and utilized some of our team to build some of those up, so we had a really safe place. There is a question about cross-posting. We absolutely cross-post, whether it be on Twitter or LinkedIn or Facebook or on email. We are really trying to post things where they need to be, as long as they're relevant to that group. We do have an open Facebook page, and then we have a couple of different groups for some of our smaller communities. We have groups that employers and participants are a part of that have continuous job postings. So we've got a couple different things through our social media channels. All right. Jessica, you want to talk a little bit about what we've done to make it easier?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the big things that we focus on here is how do we make our process easier for customers, and not necessarily, of how it used to be or how it always been. We like to take that kind of out of the equation, kind of say, all right, we have the opportunity to embrace change here and make some changes and realize that our customers are needing something a little bit easier. And so we've really focused in on that. One of the things that we have done is focus on a employability class, and we've created this for customers who are unemployed but ready for employment. We made it specifically to say, okay, this is for people who are ready and wanting to get employed. And so in that class, we thought, okay, what do people need to be more marketable to employers. And so we have identified a customer service credential that they can obtain. So we have that as part of the class. We also have the basic interviewing skills and that conversation to make sure when they do have the interview that they feel comfortable doing it. We have a resume building as a part of that class so that when they walk out the door, they have a professional resume ready to go with them. And then we also talk about, when I get the job, what do I need to be successful? What are those things that I really need to pay attention to make sure I am successful long-term? And so that has been really a successful class. And speaking of customer focus, what we did is we made sure that it was just a one-day class. We know that sometimes it is hard for our customers to come back for different appointments and things like that. So we were purposeful to make it a one-day 4-hour class, so kind of a one and done, and having that credential then on their resume when they leave. So that has been something new and customer focused that we have really enjoyed doing. And then rapid enrollment opportunities. A lot of times we work with large groups of people and we want the enrollment process to be as quick and painless as possible. And so we really thought, how can we do this in one day? And so what we do is we do an orientation, we have them fill out the application, and we have them test all in the same day so that they don't have to then come back again for an appointment the next day. They can just do everything in that one day and they can move on with their program, whatever that may be. And then we love the opportunity to get in front of community groups. So we welcome that. We share that with our partners and agencies in our community. We are often out in the community just sharing our programs and services, and welcome that opportunity. And then we utilize our website quite a bit for different things. That's another platform that we use. Like Courtney said, the resume submission link is on our website. We utilize it for our job postings and things like that as well. So we feel like our customers are going to probably go straight to our website. They're either going to go straight to our website or straight to our Facebook if they have the access first. So that's where we want to make it easier for them to get the services and program information that they need.
And then just getting creative, we, again, really try to step outside of this is how we do things and say, how do we need to do things? So we've talked a little bit about drive-through hiring events. We did several in the fall, and we reached out to actually some of the other LWIAs who were doing them and said, how are you doing it? What works, what doesn't? So utilizing our resources of all the people that are doing this work. And then we got thoughtful and creative. For one of our hiring events, we had a huge fire truck. The fire department partnered with us and gave goodie bags out of all kinds of fire department stuff, but they also had the huge fire truck on the corner to try and attract people in traffic. So thinking about, what might make sense. At another one of our events, we again had a whole goodie bag full of stuff, including at that time masks, because they were a little hard to get. I know they're not right now, so maybe there's a different need now, but what is that way to hook people and make them excited about coming? And then how do we also simplify our messaging? So making it really, really simple so they don't have to wonder what's going to happen when they come. They know what to expect and they're okay with that and feel comfortable. So with the drive-through hiring events and resource fairs, we still, although we are offering in-person services, I'm sure like many of you, we're not comfortable having a large scale event in that same traditional way. So what we're doing in May is we're actually doing kind of a block party type event. So it will be outdoors. And of course we have a rain date just in case. But we got a huge parking lot and area in one of our counties. And we're doing it as more of like a block party style. So that took us to kind of change the expectation of our employers and say, we want you to do this hiring event, but we need you to know like people aren't going to come in ties and that's got to be okay for you. because we're going to make it more of a fun event to engage people to come. So that will be a fun event. There'll be some food specials from some of our local restaurants that wanted to participate. We have several employers. We have a group bringing a VR headset to safely do some mock interviews using virtual reality. So we're going to really try and engage in a different way and see what we can do with something like that. We've talked a lot about Facebook events, but I think, you know, after a while, we were doing our orientation session on Facebook. And after a while, we said, okay, we can't keep doing the same orientation session on Facebook. So we started doing them with a hook. So each session then was about a different career pathway. So we would have our regular orientation session, but at the very beginning, it would be, you know, learn about CDL, learn about phlebotomy. And then we would do an abbreviated orientation, but really tying it to a career pathway that's in demand in our community, so that it was a more focused session, but we got a lot more people because I think they wanted to learn about that piece. And then, of course, we measured it. We got results of people enrolling in the program specifically for those trainings after, you know, sort of hooking that way. In terms of employers, we've all had to be creative with our employers during this time for sure. So, you know, working with our employers because their needs are so great right now, and trying to get creative there too. You know, for our worksite approvals, for a while we had to do them, you know, with an iPad and a cell phone and doing a virtual tour. How can we do different type of hiring events like the Facebook event? We worked with one employer recently, a large factory, who wanted people to apply online and do virtual interviews over Zoom. So we actually offered our career center as the place they would do their virtual interview. So we helped individuals do the application, and then they got an interview time, and they came back to our career center and did that virtual interview on Zoom in our career center in a nice quiet spot. So we made sure if they had tech problems or anything, we helped them and walked them through there. So, you know, all of this really kind of just thinking about the customer, keeping the customer in mind and how we can really engage to provide maximum impact. All right.
All right, and it looks like we have another poll, Molly. So you should be seeing, so which of these have you tried? And so if you could just let us know which platforms you've tried, and we can see what the most used is. While we're waiting for this, Courtney, you made me think of something else too, as we think about our customers and just making sure that things are easy for them to take advantage of. One of the things that we do for you know, our upcoming hiring events and things like that is just really make sure our customers are ready. So when they are going to those hiring events, those employer events, that they have their resume, they have an elevator speech ready to go. And so Courtney mentioned the one that we have in May will be gearing up and making sure our job seekers are ready to go for that. So that's another thing you made me think of, Courtney. Yeah, it looks like a lot of people use Zoom and Facebook, little Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. That's great. Whoever's using TikTok, please get with me later so I can pick your brain on that. And then a lot of other platforms. So I'd be very interested to see those other platforms. So if you could put that in the chat, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I've seen Google Meets, Instagram. That's a great one. Instagram is a really good one as well. We haven't explored Instagram yet, but something we should. WebEx, excellent one. Yep. LinkedIn, excellent. Yeah. Oh, Flipgrid. That's a good one. We'll have to explore Flipgrid. And Signalvine. I don't even know what Signalvine is.
I'm writing some of these down, Courtney.
I know. If anyone knows Signalvine, feel free to unmute yourself and tell us a little bit about Signalvine. All right, we've got Bitmoji, Clubhouse, text. Exactly. We had to do, you know, really think about we're emailing and calling our customers, and that's not always the best way to get them. So we really need to know how our customers want to be communicated and communicate with them that way. And we use Google Voice a lot, so individuals can use their cell phone and text and call customers. So, and I see Google Voice coming up on there, so that's great. So, all right, well, I'm going to research Signal Vine then, because I don't know that one, and I'm very intrigued.
Yeah, a lot of good ideas.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So I think our challenge now is not only, we're doing creative things and we're trying to reach customers, but I think something that we are really, really being thoughtful about is not going back to how it was. Once we can all safely go back, whether that's in July or whenever that time frame is for all of us, we need to operationalize what we're learning now, because I think right now, at least for us, we are being much more customer centered than we've ever been and really being thoughtful about that. And we don't want to go back to doing things in a way that, may be convenient for us, but not necessarily in the best interest of our customers. So for example, meeting with a customer, whether it be on Zoom or on FaceTime or whatever, some of our customers, it's easier for because they have tech, but they don't have transportation. So how do we make sure to keep that aspect and offer, hybrid models to meet customers exactly where they are and provide them the services they need? And then we build their skills so that, eventually they have those resources. But that's something that's very top of mind for us right now, is we're not going backwards. We've had a forced upgrade and we are moving forward now. And it's really important for us to decide what stays, what's better, and also keep continuously improving. Some of these are working now, but once we go back, they might not work as well. So saying, okay, what's that next step? What's the next layer? Where do we need to go to really be that place that is convenient and easy for customers and provides them the services they need to really reach their full potential? So Jess, is there anything I missed on that?
No, I think that sounds great. And yeah, we have to be adaptable. Our customers are, in different areas of comfortability, as well as our employers. And so we have to be flexible and continuously think outside the box. And I think this has given us an opportunity to be able to do that. So, yeah,
for sure. So we wanted to provide our contact information, but we'd love to also hear from you. We've had really, really great comments in the chat that tell us a little bit about what you're doing. But we'd also love for you to share anything else that we didn't cover that you're doing that's been successful, that you can share with this larger group. I think the nice thing about these events is learning from one another. And so we'd love to hear about anything else you want to share with us in the chat. Otherwise, of course, we could give you a little time back to get a break before the next session too.
There was a question in here about elevator speeches and how, let me go back to it. It says, you mentioned elevator speech. Do you have a specific format that you use? And so what we did, we just made it very basic. We feel that our customers, when they talk to employers, they need to feel comfortable explaining what they're looking for, what their goals are, what their interests are. And so just very simply explaining to them that they need to be able to come up with maybe a 5-minute or less little snippet about themselves so that employers know. And so we did that on a Facebook Live. We've done that in person as a workshop as well. And so it's just really more just getting our customers ready for hiring events and things like that.
I see that in the chat, someone did explain Signal Vine.
It has forced us to innovate. And yes, that's the one thing, we do know we've been forced to innovate and we've got to keep that innovation going. Another question about, do you offer training to partners on how to do some of these things? You know, we haven't formally, but we have such great relationships with our partners that, you know, we, especially in our partner hangouts, we just had one this morning, and we share what's working and then ask questions. So another partner shared how they're doing their GED classes, and all of us answered questions. Oh, how are you doing this? How does that work? So I think through some of the strengthening of the partnerships we've had, that just happens naturally. So, well, and you are welcome to connect with Jessica or I anytime. If you have specific questions or would like us to share anything, we're also an open book, and we'll send anything your way that might be helpful. We're all in this together, and we definitely just want to make sure we're all serving our customers and giving them opportunities right now. So, Molly, is there anything else we need to hit on or do before the end of the session?
No, this was great. Thank you everyone for participating. And we're looking forward to seeing you at our next set of sessions.
Great.
So thanks so much, everyone.
Wonderful. Thank you all so much. We'll give you a little bit of your morning back.
Bye-bye.
Bye.